Good morning. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you. Good morning to everybody. Can you hear me? Am I on? Yeah. Okay, good. Anyway, I want to welcome all of you. You're from almost every state in the nation, and I want to thank you all for coming today. What we're going to be doing is I'm going to be introducing a little bit of history to you in Bella Vista, and then I'm going to turn the meeting over to Tom Judson, who is the COO of the POA. And then I'm going to turn the meeting, Tom will turn the meeting over to Peter Christie, who has been our illustrious mayor for 8 years, and this is his last welcome meeting. So I have to say, he's been a great mayor, and we're very glad to have you here today.
Thank you.
Anyway, a little bit of history on Bella Vista. We're not just a normal city. And in 1915, there was a couple from Bentonville named Baker family, and they bought the privilege to be able to dam up Little Sugar Creek and make Lake Bella Vista, and then bought some property. Their intention was to have a 3-month resort area here. And after 2 years, they decided it was too much work. So then they sold the name Bella Vista, as well as the rights, to 3 Linebarger brothers from Texas. And those Linebarger brothers really developed many of the amenities here in Bella Vista. And one of them was an airport in 1921. They had a multi-purpose airport here that was also, the landing strip was the 9-hole golf course. So it was like I said, it was multi-purpose. Then in 1829, the Linebargers also opened up the Sunset Hotel, which was a big deal because it each room had private bathrooms. So that was a big deal in those days, and it was a very important addition to Bella Vista. And then in 1930, the Linebargers opened the Wonderland Cave. And some of you may have heard about the Wonderland Cave. It is currently closed. However, everybody wants it to reopen. It was for big band music. It was not the Tommy Dorsey music, but it was big band music that came. And the Linebargers kept all of the amenities. Again, just a 3-month period that the amenities were open and Bella Vista was open. Then in 1952, the Linebargers sold Bella Vista and the name to E.L. Keith. And E.L. Keith was a gentleman who did not believe in dancing and liquor. So he changed the dance pavilion to a roller skating rink. And he also did not buy the Wonderland Cave because of the alcohol and the dancing. He kept it for 10 years and really expanded it. He had basically expanded the stables, the horse riding, and everything. E.L. Keith eventually sold to a gentleman named John Cooper Sr. And you will hear the name Cooper Communities here a lot in Bella Vista. However, John Cooper Sr., when he came, his goal was to expand everything from 3 months to a 12-month resort retirement community. I moved here 17 years ago, and we were at 90% retirees, and now we're at about 36%. So things have changed a lot. Anyway, and once John Cooper Sr. and the Cooper Communities came into town, they built 7 golf courses. They built 7 lakes. This building basically is the first building and the first golf course that Cooper's built. And this was the first 18-hole golf course. And basically this building was designed by E. Jones. And E. Jones was a student of Frank Lloyd Wright. And it's an important building. It is on the National Registry. And if you look around, it's a beautiful building. Anyway, and the view obviously is beautiful. E. Jones also built the Cooper Chapel for John Cooper for his in memory of his wife. Anyway, as we expand here today, and obviously lots of new people are here, the Bella Vista Museum has a table over here with all the books and the history, but they really have a lot of history about Bella Vista. We're not a normal city. So I want to invite all of you from Wednesday to Sunday from 1 to 5 to come to the museum and enjoy it. Also, you all have raffle tickets, and we're going to be raffling off one of their books that they have, a pictorial history of the books. Anyway, I'm going to turn everything over to Tom. We will have a period of question and answer at the end, and then we'll do the raffle. Okay? Thank you. And there's more coffee.
Good morning, everybody. Morning. Thank you all for coming. I wanted to start this because I would like to recognize Peter Christie. Peter is our mayor, and he has been our mayor for 8 years, and his term ends at the end of this month. And we've kind of been partners in crime for many years. He started a year before me. I've been the chief operating officer of the POA for 7 years. So our terms have somewhat paralleled, but the amount of growth that we've experienced in Bella Vista, the improvements that have been made to our community, the additions to the fire department, to the police department, the improvements to our roads, it's all because of Peter. And really want to recognize how much of a difference he has made to our community. All of you are new, so you didn't see what it was like, 7, 8 years ago, but we are so much better. And I think a lot of the reason why you're here today is because of the efforts of Mayor Christie. So, and he's put up for years with my bad jokes. So, with a smile on his face. So the first thing on your table, you'll see that there's this form right here. And what we're trying to do here is, Deb talked about how different Bella Vista is. So think of the governance of Bella Vista as a three-legged stool, okay? The first leg of the stool, we'll start with the city. The city is in charge of the police, the fire department, the roads, building permits, those types of things, okay? So that's what their function is. They're all elected officials. The second one is the ACC, the Architectural Control Committee. And they're going to make sure that what you do to your home, if you're repainting it or if you're building it new, you're not going to paint it bubblegum pink. You're gonna paint it a color that's fitting for the environment and with the neighborhood and so forth. So they're going to monitor those types of things. And then the last thing is the POA. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of the POA. The POA is the fun department. We're in charge of the lakes, the golf courses, some of the restaurants, and then we're also the water utility. So wanted to make sure that everybody understood that there's this separation of powers, which is different than most communities. Our member services department receives about 40,000 calls per year, and 20,000 of those calls have nothing to do with the POA. They have to do with the city or the ACC. So our staff and Peter's staff are very well versed in getting you in the right direction because it can be confusing. So we came up with this to try and make it a little bit easier so that you don't have to make quite so many calls. The other convenient thing is when you're getting a permit to build a fence or do those types of things, you're going to have to, in some cases, you're going to have to get a permit from the city and the ACC, and they have offices right next to each other to try and make it easier on you. And that's been done on purpose. So it's a little bit of a hassle. You got to get 2 permits, but at least they're located right next to each other. So this is a good point of reference. All right, so let's talk about a reference that the POA is the fun department. So if you take this, which was on your table, and on the inside is a map. So let's take a couple moments and talk about all the amenities because many of our new residents, they're moving here because of the amenities. Okay, so we're going to start on the far left side or the west side, and you see that we have a little where it has a little green target. That's where our gun range is. So we have pistol, rifle, skeet, and track. So if that's something that you're into, we can definitely accommodate your needs. We also give classes on concealed carry classes and beginner classes and so forth. So it's a really nice environment. If you move up to Highlands, it's one of our 18-hole golf courses. We also have a bar and a pizza kitchen out there. So if that's something that you're interested in, and if you want to go get pizza, you don't have to be a golfer. You can do one or the other. We also have a pool table out there and dartboards. It's kind of fun. I think there's a shuffleboard table too. If you move over to Branchwood is a highly used facility. We have fitness. So we have group fitness, we have cardio, we have weights, it's location of our only indoor pool. On the outside of the building, we also have pickleball courts. We have 6 pickleball courts. We have a 1.5 mile trail that you can walk. And on that same 1.5 mile trail, we have a disc golf course. So it's got a lot of stuff in one small area. It's if you want to get active, go there. Okay. We're going to go straight down to Lake Point. Lake Point, so I mentioned earlier, the POA manages 3 restaurants and numerous bars. This is one of the restaurants we manage. Lake Point is kind of our crown jewel. It's right next to the water. It's got a fantastic view. It's a great place to go get a meal or a cocktail. At that same location, we have the marina. The marina is where you can rent a boat, you can rent a kayak, a supboard, which is a stand-up paddleboard. You can go in the shop and you can get some fishing gear. It's not, it's not Bass Pro or anything like that, but you can get some of your fishing gear needs there. So you can we can take care of you. So it's kind of a fun place. And that's also if you have a slip rental for your boat, that's probably where it's going to be. Although there's wait lists because we have a lot of people interested in that. Moving over to Scottsdale. So Scottsdale is another 18-hole golf course. It's a link style golf course. It's really a beautiful one. And in that pro shop, we have a nice pub. And it has a great deck that overlooks the 18th hole, and there's a nice pond there. So you don't have, once again, you don't have to be a golfer to go enjoy. My wife and I will go out there, we'll get a drink, we'll sit on the deck and look out. Probably not today, a little cold, but it's a great place to go and enjoy. All right, the beach. All right, so the beach is one of our highest used amenities. It's only during the summertime, of course, but we actually have a beach, and it's a great lake area. We have it roped off so the kids can swim safely. We have sand in there. We have playground equipment, a zip line that they can go on. We have beach volleyball courts there. So it's a lot of fun. You can rent a kayak, you can rent a supboard there, and then there's a little hut where you can check in. And I always say we sell every form of sugar for the kids, just to wind them up even more. If they want a candy bar, we got it. It's a fun place, great place to take the kids or the grandkids. They'll thoroughly enjoy it. And it's right next to the boat launch, so you can actually see what's going on in the lake and so forth. If you go down straight south from that, you'll see a water drop, and that is where the Huntley Water Department is. That's where Member Services is. So when you moved into your home, you probably had to hook up your water. You probably maybe you got an activity card and so forth, and that's where you would have done it if you were living on the west side of our community. If you were on the east side, you would have probably gone to Metfield. Okay? Also, right down the road from that water drop is a great trailhead. If you're into mountain biking, that would be a really good one. It's a very highly used location. All right, we're going to move all the way over to that upper section where this is the BB Bar and Grill. So this building is actually an E. Fay Jones design building, and E. Fay Jones was a protege of Frank Lloyd Wright. He's the founder of the University of Arkansas School of Architecture. So it's a really beautiful building. We've had a lot of architects come in here, and when you see them in the lobby, they're immediately looking up and looking all over the place because it's really a beautiful place. And we've tried to do our best to keep with how it was originally designed to the best of our ability. So here you have the Country Club golf course, 18-hole golf course. And then this is you know, a great pub and grill that you can come and enjoy yourself. So another thing you can do. This is also where our administration is. So this is where my office is in the accounting department. And actually, the building goes down a couple levels and we have accounting down there and so forth. And if you're interested in a job, and we're always hiring, over there in the far corner is where our HR department is, and you can go apply. It's also where our boardroom is. So our monthly meetings, you can go in. We have a guest area where you can view the meetings, or what a lot of people do is we live stream all our meetings so you can actually view them from the comfort of your own home. Okay. All right, we're gonna go south from there to Tanyard Creek. So Tanyard Creek is our busiest driving range. We do 65,000 buckets of balls a year out of that facility. And in the 23 budget, we've actually put aside $50,000 for the design of a new building that we would hopefully start construction in 24, because we're just busting at the gills at that location, and we really need to expand and so forth. And the building's really old, and it's been kind of cobbled together 2 or 3 times, and it just doesn't make any sense anymore. So also at that same location, we have a great hiking trail with a waterfall. You can go as long or as short as you want. It's a pretty easy trail, and it's got a great view of a waterfall. So if you're looking for about a mile hike, or if you want to go even further than that, that's the location. If people come in from out of town to visit you, that's where you want to take them to go on a hike. It's a really good place. All right, we're going to go straight down to Kingsdale. So Kingsdale, we have a lot of stuff going on in that area. We have an 18-hole golf course. We have a 9-hole golf course. In that building that they run out of, there's a restaurant there, Papa Mike's. Papa Mike's is going to be, Papa Mike, literally the guy, is going to be retiring in October. And in our 23 budget, the POA has put aside money, and we're going to be renovating that building because it needs a lot of love in the inside of that building. And we're going to renovate that building also. And so sometime in 24, we'll have a 4th restaurant. Also in that same area, we have our tennis facility with 8 tennis courts. Great place if you're into tennis. If you like playing group tennis and tournaments and so forth, that's where you want to do it. We have our largest pool complex there. And then Reardon Hall. Now, you can't get to Reardon Hall right now because we're renovating that building. It's a 50-year-old building, and the board last year, or earlier this year, we dedicated over $4 million to the renovation of that building. It is really in bad shape, and so you can't get there right now, but in probably the spring or early summer, anytime we do a renovation of the building, we'll start doing tours while the construction is underway, because we want to take everybody out, show them what's going on, build some excitement, and at the end of the day, it's your money we're using to renovate this building. So we want you to be involved, you to be aware of what's going on. At that location, we're going to dramatically enlarge our fitness facility in that location, and we're going to have it in such a way where you'll have 24-hour access. If you want to work out at 2 o'clock in the morning, you go. You can do that. You won't be able to get to the rest of the building, but the fitness area. We're going to have a weight room in that facility, a spin class room, all this stuff. And also we're going to have all the stuff that we always have in that building with group fitness and dance and cards and everything else. All right. So that building should be completed towards the end of next year. Supply chain is hammering us. Getting supplies for that building is really, really hard at this point. So we're working on that. Okay, and there's a big playground there and a trailhead also. All right, we're going to move over, we're going to jump all the way to the right-hand side of the map, on the east side, Metfield. So Metfield is another facility that's got a lot of stuff going on. We have an 18-hole golf course, a 9-hole golf course there. We have a small like pub kind of set up. It's more like a snack bar. You can get a hot dog and so forth. Close to that same location, you have a playground. We have a skills course. So if you have kids that want to learn how to ride mountain bikes, that's where you take them. And they can also skateboard at that same location if that's what they're interested in. We're renovating. We're going to be opening up 4 additional pickleball courts at that location. So we'll have a total of 10 pickleball courts, which is great. It's a growing sport. A lot of people are interested in that. It's our 2nd largest pool complex, and it's the start of the trail. So the Razorback Greenway is a 10-foot wide concrete trail that goes from Metfield Park all the way down to Fayetteville, 40 miles. So it is a great facility. So if you're into riding a bike, a lot of people are getting e-bikes and they want to stay off the road, they want to get on a concrete path, Razorback Greenway. My wife and I have traversed all 40 miles. It's a beautiful amenity for Northwest Arkansas, and it starts in our own backyard, which is outstanding. All right. Also at that same location, we have member services and water department. So you can go there, you can sign up for your water, you can get an activity card, you can sign up for a golf membership, so forth. All right, we're going to come over here to where it's that green logo, which is the Gear Garden. So the Gear Garden's closed right now, but the Gear Garden for wintertime. But that is where Blowing Springs is. So we have an RV park with 60 or 70 stalls for RVs. We have a gear garden, which is our version of a beer garden. It's right next to the Razorback Greenway, so we got a ton of people that'll be on the trail. They're stopped, they get a beer, and then they keep on going. It's just a really nice place to come out. It's always during the summertime with the tree canopy. It's always about 10 degrees cooler there than everywhere else. So it's a great place. Alice and I will bring the dogs out and we'll just enjoy a beer. It's just a great setup. Also, that's kind of the gateway to our trail system. So I haven't really mentioned the trails. So the trails of the amenities, actually the city and the POA jointly take care of the 100 miles of trails. So if you weren't aware, that's 100 miles. It's a huge amount. So as you're looking at this, you're going to see all those orange lines or red lines going all over the place. Those are all the trails that are going through all of Bella Vista. So if you're active, if you like mountain biking, if you like hiking, it's a great place to enjoy that. One of the trails I want to put on your radar, in addition to Tanyard Creek, is Tweety Bird. Tweety Bird is a 2-mile trail. It's reasonably flat. It's nice and wide. We have 3 wide adaptive trails. Okay, so if you are handicapped in some way and you're maybe using a hand crank with a battery assist, you'll see a lot of those on those trails, and they'll be using them at Tanyard Creek. So it's a great amenity that we have. When that trail first opened, it was a single track. It was very narrow. And now they have it nice and wide for adaptive bikes. But it's also great. Alice and I can walk right next to each other with our dog, and we can walk the whole trail. It's just a great setup. You hardly see a home in the entire walk. So it's really a nice thing to do. So we got a lot of stuff that we have to offer. I've probably missed half the things that we have. But like I said, we're in the fun department, and on top of that, we also are the water utility. Okay, so now let me talk about one thing. How do you get the most out of using our amenities? You got to get yourself an activity card. So who here has got an activity card? Outstanding. I love to see all those hands up. Okay, so if you aren't aware of it, with an activity card, it's going to cost you $30 whole a year. And with that $30, you're going to get unlimited use of the gym facilities, the pools, the beach, entrance into the gun range, free green fees at Brittany Golf Course, unlimited use of the driving range, so as many buckets as you can hit, and 10% off your food purchases at the POA restaurants. So you can't beat that deal. So if you haven't recently gotten an activity card, please do so. I see there's a couple families here. If 2 people in your family get an activity card, so $60 total, then you can get up to 5 dependent cards for free. So you get mom and dad get a card each, and then you got 5 kids all for free. It's a pretty good deal. We have some great pools, and you got to take them to the beach because that's a lot of fun there. All right, so we're the fun department. We hope you enjoy. I mean, get out there. I mean, not today because it's cold, but get out there, enjoy. We have all these amenities that you can use, and we're trying to do our best to always stay ahead of the curve and make improvements to our community. Go take a look at when we're doing the tours of Reardon. Come join us and see how much better that facility is going to be when we're all done. All right. Yes. It's off of Chelsea, but you can actually look, Google it and find it.
Good morning. Like many of you, I too come from somewhere else. My wife and I are originally from Canada, and I was transferred to the United States December of 1993, and we've never looked back. We've got citizenship. Our 2 boys have married into American families, and we're just delighted to be here. A little bit about me. I was in the corporate world before becoming mayor. I was a vice president with NCR, which is National Cash, and I was a fixer. Enjoyed the job. I retired, got bored. Somebody at church said, "Why don't you run for mayor?" I thought, mayor? Okay. So here I am, and as the grandkids like to call me, I'm the old gray mayor. Throughout my career, I've been very fortunate in having someone with me who has never, ever faltered. I would not be able to do this job without my wife, Connie, who's here this morning, and including a 4-year stint in Saudi Arabia. We have moved 10 times in our lives. We don't have a garage that's overburdened with all sorts of stuff, as some people do, because we just move too often. But I want to just acknowledge Connie has been just a great, great partner, wife, mother. While I was on planes, flying all over the world, it was Connie that raised the boys, and they just turned out fine. So thank you, dear. I appreciate it. Tom and I have worked very well together. I suspect it's because we had a common bond on the corporate side of things. We also have a common vision. You'll hear some people like to say, well, there's just no commonality between the city and the POA, and they fight all the time. Nothing could be further from the truth. As well as being good business partners, Tom's also a personal friend. And we have accomplished so much here. He has done unbelievable work. When we first came here in 2010, to be very frank, this place here was a dump. And then Tom came in and has just absolutely transformed it. For example, that wonderful golf facility next door used to be the accounting department. So it was blocked off. If you go over there, the view is spectacular as it is here. He took a very old-looking building called the Marina, which is now Lake Point, And it had sat for 4 or 5 years doing absolutely nothing, costing the POA a lot of money every year just to keep the lights and the heat on. He transformed that. He transformed Branchwood. He collaborated with us on the trails. So that's the type of environment that you want on a three-legged stool. We both get along with Cooper. Understanding that Cooper's business model is different than ours. He's in it to make a profit. We are not. We are here to provide services for you, using your assessment dollars on the POA side and using tax dollars on the city side. And it works. It has worked from almost the first day that Tom and I met. So I just want to give you the assurance that regardless of what the naysayers may say, there is no kind of division between the city and the POA. We work very closely with one another, and we have accomplished a great deal. I'm going to start with some of the handouts that I've got. This is our year-to-date financials. They are on the table behind us. We are in extremely good cash position. Our balance sheet is very, very strong, and there's a reason for it. We have a lot of cash and we have no short-term debt. We paid the last of the short-term debt this year for fire machines, pumpers. And the reason I've been doing this is because we just might get a recession. And I want to assure you that we have positioned ourselves so that if a recession hits, none of our 184 employees are going to be laid off. Everybody keeps their job. Everybody will come to work every day to make sure that you get the services from the city that you need to get. We will not lay off a single soul. So that's why I've accumulated the money. Now, we also have a 2023 budget, which is on the table behind me. This has not been approved by council. In fact, council just got it yesterday. And we're going to have a meeting on the 8th of December. It's a special work session. At work sessions, no decisions are made, but that's where the rubber meets the road, and you can get to hear the questions from the councillors to the department heads in this case. It's going to be held on December the 8th at 5:30 up at the courthouse on Lancashire. So there's the budget. It also has verbiage inside that talks about what we're trying to do and where. And then we also have the capital budget as well. And you will notice that it aggressively goes after the cash situation I've been talking about, because in the event that we don't have a recession, which is always preferable, we are going to keep investing in the infrastructure and keep up with the growth. We've seen unprecedented growth here over the last 8 years. And it's not because of me, it's just because of the way the housing market has grown, especially in Northwest Arkansas. We ended up being the best deal in town. In fact, I would go to some of the other mayors, especially my friends over in Bentonville, Rogers, and Springdale, and say, could you please just raise your average house price by, let's say, $150. Excuse me, $150,000, and that will drive more people up here, so that we are able to then get the amenities and get the tax dollars coming in here. So I would urge you to have a look at these two documents. Again, they're on the table behind me, and if you can, come on out on the 8th, and you can hear the dialogue between the department heads and the council.
Peter, is it on YouTube also?
Are you guys filming it? Yes? Yeah.
On the 8th?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'll share that.
Good. Yes, thank you for that. How many here have never been on a septic tank in their life? Okay, good news. There's a pamphlet back here behind me. Do your part and be septic smart. And this is issued by the EPA. It's very important that you read this and understand how to take care of your septic system. If you buy something at the store because it says flushable, dimes to donuts, it's not in a septic tank situation. You have to be very, very careful. Most of us in our kitchens have I call it the garburator, the thing that eats everything down in the sink. Don't use it. For heaven's sakes, don't use it. It's fine in the sewer system, sort of, but it's not good for a septic system. Because here's the catch. A septic system has a life, about 30, 35 years, sometimes more. It is specifically built for the number of people that the Department of Health say can reside on that plot based on the PERT or the test, okay? And so if it's a 2-bedroom, it's probably good for maximum 5 to 6 people, not 14, okay? The thing to be careful of is most of our lots here, with the exception on the west side, I guess, are 1/3 of an acre. Most of your backyard is septic system with lateral lines as well as the tank. You need to get it cleaned on a regular basis. Usually, I think the health department says 3 to 5 years. If you have a failure, the health department will not let you put the new system where the old system resided. Now you're in a lurch because there's no room left on your land. If you were smart enough, and I wasn't, to buy another piece of property next to you, then fine, that's where your new system can go. But if you don't, then you're looking somewhere between 25 and 30,000 to put a very unique system in place that is semi-above ground. You don't even want to go there. So please, take the time, read this, and understand the do's and the don'ts of a septic system, and your wallet will thank you in the future. It's that time of year again where people are trying to get you to buy gift cards. It might be a scam. Okay, this is also on the table. Take the time to read it. For example, is someone on the phone trying to tell you that you can pay your IRS date with a gift card? My wife does taxes for a living. She will tell you absolutely not. So be very, very careful, because all of us get those calls all the time trying to solicit and sell us stuff that we probably don't need. The fire department offers a lockbox. If you get the daily paper, there was an article in the paper this morning about it. A lockbox takes your house key and puts it in a little box that is locked, and it is secured outside your front door on your siding, flashing, even brick. And this will allow EMS and police in a pinch, because the fire department has the key, to get into the box. Rather than having to break your door down, which can be very expensive, they will know, because it sits in our CAD system, which is our dispatch system, there is a lockbox on site. Because the fire crews have another box, and that's where the keys to the lockbox are kept. So it's a double keyed system. And the reason I mention this is because not only is it a good thing to have, but currently they're available at $24 each, and installation is $43.40, or you can install it yourself, or you can wait until after January 1st, and the boxes are going up in price thanks to the never-ending let's have more inflation, from $24 to $40 each, and the installation will remain the same. But the thing to remember is this can get help to you a lot faster, and you don't have to worry about, my gracious, what are we going to do with the front door because it's shattered. The other thing we have coming up, and I guess I'm part of the problem, is we have elections. So behind me, there is where can you vote on election day. Okay? Early voting is now in progress. There's only one place to go. That's the county offices, which are in Bentonville at 215 East Central on the second floor. Make sure you bring your ID. They're open today until 4 o'clock. They open again on Monday, 7:30 till 4, 8. And then, of course, the following day on Tuesday is election day. And it's rather interesting that the next day, by the time we wake up, we will know the answer on the day of infamy. So if you want to know where to vote in Bella Vista on the 6th, it's here. I also have brought sample ballots, because many of us, I think, like to look at this and just see where am I going to, or who am I going to vote for, and what is the ballot going to look like. There are no additional questions in this runoff. It's just the mayor, and each of our 3 wards has a runoff, which is very, very unusual. You get to vote for every ward. It's not like some cities you may have come from where you only vote for the council member in the ward in which you reside. That is not the case here. You get to vote for all 3 as well as the mayor. So do take the time. There have been many articles in the Weekly Vista about each of the candidates. Signs are wonderful, but get to know what you're voting for and make sure that you're an informed voter. It's very hard to get people to come out to a midterm election. It's even harder to get them to come out for a runoff in a midterm. At one point, we actually had a runoff here a few years ago. 400 people made the decision for all of Bella Vista out of 12,000 registered voters. That's not good, because I've got a budget of $19 million of your taxpayer money. You need to get involved and understand. Some people have also said there's been no growth here. Well, if there's been no growth, then why has the budget expanded from $14 million 8 years ago to almost $20 million now? There has been growth. A lot of it is because of the POA, but we have new restaurants. We've got a bicycle shop that's about to open. There's a lot of stuff happening here. There are a lot of plans afoot, especially down in Old Bella Vista, which is where all those rundown buildings are and the food trucks. All that land has been bought by a consortium, and they're going to do something in 2024. I have said to them, don't tell me, because I'm subject to FOIA. FOIA is the Freedom of Information Act. So if you tell me, and someone comes and asks me, I am bound by law to tell your business plan to them. But something's going to happen down there, and I think it's going to be unbelievable.
Good.
Okay?
Places.
I think that's it. So let me open it up. Oh, no, there is one more thing. The bond that we issued in 2020 that all of you approved, well, not all of you because you're brand new, but it was a $24.3 million bond. We had never issued a bond before. When I went to Standard & Poor's for the interview, we actually came out with a double A capital rating, which is unreal. I've done this a long time. And that was one of the best ratings for the first time ever out of the gate that I've seen, at an interest rate of 1.1%. So the original amortization was going out to 2045. About a year ago, it dropped to 2031. And it now looks as though we're going to have the bond paid off. If sales tax is flat, it'll be 2028. If there's a 3%, as we think there might be, it'll be 2027. And the bond's paid off, and then council has the ability after 7 years from the actual issuance to go back to you and say, please, sir, can I have some more? And then it'll be up to you as to whether or not you want to refinance the bond. The bond was for 3 very distinct projects. One was to build a new fire station number 3 on Glasgow on the west side. There was a fire station number 3 out there built by Cooper back in 1987. It was a 2-man. Since then, the West has expanded rapidly. We needed more. It's now a 6-man, and it has an ambulance out there as well. It's right beside Branchwood. We also have money in the bond for our very first police station, which is being built up on 279. It's an $18 million project. I'm glad we started it when we did. Nabholz is the main construction company. I've known the Nabholz boys for quite some time before I became mayor, and they have told me if we were to build it today, the cost would be 50% higher. So to Tom's point earlier about trying to get stuff in and fixed in time and get it's called a GMP, which is a guaranteed maximum price on a project, is extremely hard because everything is changing and moving so quickly. And luckily, we got in, and there hasn't been that much of a problem. That facility is probably going to open in January. We're about a month behind because we too had some supply chain, but we were able to get through it fairly quickly. It is, though, the very first that we've ever had for a police building. It's also going to have the court in there. We never had a court until January of 2018. I got it through the legislature in Little Rock the year before, and we opened the doors and we're away to the races. So the third major project is the fire training tower. So if you are driving up Highway 71 and going up towards Missouri, and you look on your left just before you get to Gordon Hollow, you will see that there's a great big space behind some trees where people are digging. That's where the training facility is going to go. So it'll have a training building with 2 bays, and it'll also have a training tower, because the fire folks have to have mandatory tower training every year. We've had to send equipment and firefighters outside of Bella Vista to have that. Well, what happens if something terribly wrong goes here? Those things don't move quickly because they're full of water. They're pretty good on a flat surface. We don't have a lot of flat surfaces out of here, so it makes more sense for us to have it out here. Also, unless you're with State Farm, all the other insurance companies use an ISO rating which says, how good is this city at fighting fires? It's from 1 to 10. If you're a 10, get out the garden hose and hope. There aren't many ones around. We were a 6, and after we increased the number of firefighters, replaced 4 pumpers, and built fire station number 4, we dropped from a 6 to a 4. In talking to the ISO folks about 3.5 years ago, they said, if you improve fire station number 3 and if you put a fire training tower in here, you'll probably get it down to a 3. That means, touch wood, that your insurance, your fire insurance, will go down as it did when we went from a 6 to a 4. Okay? So those are the 3 big bond projects. And as I mentioned, the bond is probably going to be paid off much sooner than we ever thought. So we're opening it up for Q&A. Yes, ma'am.
As you probably are aware, Cox Communications is the leading ISP for the area.
Yep.
We are so sick and tired of the disruptions. I hate to be a negative, Nanny, but it's horrible. And I really feel bad. We are retired, but I really feel badly for people who work from home and students who depend on the internet. Can you address the problem?
Yes, I've been addressing it with them because I came out of telecommunications at one point in my career.
Peter, can you read?
Yeah, the question is, there is a lot of disruptions on the Cox service. How can that be fixed? Basically, what it comes down to is fiber. The original way that a cable company was offering internet service was through its coax cable, which is shared with your TV, and then they would have a phone line for sending out. And that was pretty archaic. It has improved somewhat, but they need better fiber. So if you've seen in your travels around the city, big reels of orange cable, that's fiber and it's Cox. That's how they're trying to address it. The problem is it's very expensive because if you dig here, as you probably have discovered, there's not a lot of dirt, it's rock. Nevertheless, they're still trying to do that. It's also interesting to note that they're doing it for self-preservation as well as trying to improve the service, because Carroll Electric has stopped the joint use agreement with both AT&T and Cox on their poles. So they've got to pull their outside plant off the pole and get it in the ground. But that should help, because having aerial fiber is not a good idea at all. There is an even bigger problem here, and that is the lack of broadband in about 4 different areas of the city. AT&T and Cox just say it doesn't work, costs too much, but if the resident is willing to pay $10,000, then we'd be happy to bring the lines in. Well, that's not going to work either. So there is broadband money that is being released by the feds. We have identified down to the block where we need, because it's underserved. So here's what's happened so far. They've released a little bit of the money. The governor has set up a broadband czar who is supposedly overlooking everything. The FCC finally has issued maps for the whole country this time and asked for feedback. They tried it about 2 years ago. They missed us. They missed all sorts of places around the country. And a lot of voices went up and said, you can't use this map, it's garbage. So they've come out with a new one. That's going to be the blueprint of where the money goes. So their first line of attack is rural, including here. Because we've been knocking on doors saying, help, I've got kids that are at school and they're supposed to be working at home, especially during COVID, and they can't do their lessons and send their homework in electronically. Fell on deaf ears. Rural is first. So we do have a plan. I'll be covering that off with the next mayor, but it's not going to happen anytime soon. But I'm hoping that the service interruptions are going to stop, because Connie works from home doing taxes, and I can tell you, we understand exactly what you're talking about. It's not good.
Also, up here, right there, we have a business center. You can use the POA's internet, and we have a printer up there. So, and we have high speed. So that could help if you go down and you have to get something done really in a crunch.
And we also have buried fiber going into the library, and we have public computers and printers up there as well.
What part does Carroll Electric though come into? What part do they play if they're being stubborn about giving the
They have
access?
no axe, and they have no axe to grind at all. They provide the electricity, not the cable, TV, etc. It's usually out of the goodness of their heart, because they would make money from the telcos, charging them so much per pole for their equipment. Trust me, I know from experience that phone companies have no idea how many poles are being used, because nobody kept a really accurate count. And then there's Generation 5 that you may have heard that everybody's talking about. Well, G5 meant that they would put all their equipment, all their G5 equipment, on top of the Carroll Electric pole. Well, Carroll Electric doesn't want somebody going up in a cherry picker with high tension lines there so he can reach over and fix his 5G. That's why you're hearing 5G is going to be on separate poles, God forbid. That's a whole different discussion. Sir?
So, I found something very interesting about my septic system. Apparently, there's a valve out in the yard
Yes.
that's supposed to turn on a regular basis. I had no clue. So, where do you get the valve tool so I can start doing that?
You should be able to get it through places like B&B Septic. Yes, it's called a diversionary valve. And what it does is it changes the flow from one set of laterals over to the next, so you're not overloading. I didn't think I had one until I went back and I looked at the original sewage plant or plot, and lo and behold, there's the box. So now I'm trying to figure out, okay, well, where's the box and how deep down is it? And then we've had cold weather come in. But yes, most of you should have a diversionary box on your septic. Make sure you use it. If you're not sure where it is, when you closed, you should have been given a sewage plat. And it'll show you exactly where the lateral lines are, where the tank is, and where the infamous valve is. Sir?
Just curious, the town center area that recently the buildings have been torn down and so forth, is there a plan for that? It's kind of an eyesore. I don't know if there's any plans for that area.
There's one family you got to talk to.
Okay.
It's the Coopers. Okay.
So that's all owned by us.
Yeah, we've had at least one hotel very interested there. I said, great, you gotta go and talk to the Coopers. And they couldn't make the numbers work with the asking price. The same as where the old theater was that was torn down. You may not know where that is. It's down where Allen's is. It's right next door to Sonic. You can see this huge area that's just dirt. That used to be a movie theater. I've been working with a developer now out of Texas for 7 of the 8 years, trying to get more stuff up here. And he said, I think I could put a small boutique hotel right there. He said, I suppose I have to go and talk to Cooper. And I said, yeah, you do. And he called me the next day and said, I can't make the numbers work. You know, the going rate is $20 a square foot for a ground lease, and they want $45. It just doesn't work. So it's a good question. I think, Tom, we're going to have to go to that business and find something else. Some spare land that's not Cooper. Anybody else? Okay, thank you.
A couple things I want to mention to all of you. We have a quilt over here at the museum table, and it was donated to us at the museum, and it's a fundraiser. So if anybody, it's a queen-size quilt, handmade. If anyone's interested, we are selling raffle tickets for $1 a piece, or 6 tickets for $5. And we would love to have you participate if you're interested at all. Also, we have some books, and this book has been written by the 2 authors are here, Dale and Zita. And this book is it's a wonderful book about Bella Vista, and it's all pictorial history. And what we're going to do today is give away one of these with your raffle tickets. Joelle, you got the raffles? Come on over.
Does everybody have a raffle ticket?
Everybody have a raffle ticket? Also, Joelle is involved with the garden club. And so if anyone is interested in learning more about the garden club, please feel free to see her. And also, we have a list of 5 or 6 different nonprofits, such as the Courtesy Van, the museum. These nonprofits within Bella Vista are really functioning because of volunteers. And if anyone is interested in looking at the list of the different organizations, we would love to answer any questions for you concerning the volunteer. Now, are there any other questions at all for these 2 gentlemen? Because now's the chance to ask. No? Okay, shall we draw? Okay, let's,
Take the book.
okay, I just draw a ticket, okay. I'm gonna ticket 289350. 289350. There you go. Is it back there? Okay, good. Thank you so much. I want to thank you all so very, very much. We've got lots more literature here. These gentlemen are here to ask any questions. We've got the museum table, and we want to welcome all of you very, very much to Bella Vista. Thank you. And your class is